Could y'all share some early mistakes that you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, what happened?
I mean, this is a small one, but like I remember getting in one of my first contracts, and it was like a larger sale for me, and it was like 350,000 out in Abilene, and like average house in Abilene back in the day then was like 180,000. Abilene's it's a lot cheaper to purchase out that way. It's changed now, but that was 9 years ago. So I got a house for 350, and I was like, oh my gosh, I like balling. I was like feeling so good about it. Well, and it was a company transferring one of their, employees there. And it was just small, but I never got the option check to the title company in time. And so, it was a $3,500 option fee and earnest check, and they have their 7-day period, and the company decided to back out. And I lost them $3,500. And that was a lot of money to me as a new agent back in the day. I was like, and they were also wanting to buy like multiple houses for all their employees. The company was coming there. I mean, I lost a huge client. And so small mistake, but huge repercussions.
But now I agree, but it's seared in your mind now.
Never done that again. I never ever made that mistake again. The worst feeling in the world. I remember crying with my Brandy in the car, like, what do I do?
Life is over.
It was awful. So, but thankfully that was a small mistake, right? That wasn't the end of the world. There are much larger.
It wasn't a ship sinking incident.
Absolutely not. But like that feeling is the feeling I would rather get and learn off that tiny mistake than having to cost someone a gas pipeline easement on, that's running through their property.
Yes.
They own it, they close, and I get a call 2 years later. I don't want to learn that mistake. No. I don't want to learn that way, but that's one of mine.
Dylan, you have any funny?
Yeah.
I mean,
she's like, no, I haven't made any.
I'm just perfect.
Pretty perfect.
No.
Luxos Realty, you want Dylan?
We're selling ourselves today.
This is Andreas. I was like, Andreas, I want to call the podcast "The Wreckage," and I just want to talk about
all the bad,
just the pure, because I have piled it up.
Oh yeah,
and it's like,
so
he's like, Kevin, I'm not sure if that's like, what we want to be projecting here, and I'm like, okay, cool. Okay. So one day, I just want to So anyway, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. So.
I'll say most of my mistakes have been things that I can fix, and so it might come out of my pocket or something like that. Like I maybe portrayed to a client that the survey was covered by the other party, and then for whatever reason, like this has happened, for whatever reason, I just told them wrong, or I don't know. So I paid for it. I was like, that was my mistake. You thought they were covering the survey. They're not, you are, and that's my bad. I can't think of any that I haven't been able to save.
Sure.
When I first was doing big parcels of land,
do you think that is because of the team you were on and the mentors and like their leadership, or are you are a study, like you're in the book, in the details?
I think my strength is more on paper and the details. So I think that's, we both have to do both things, but now that we've partnered, I mean, Chloe's strength is more than mine, talking to people, pricing, doing everything on the front end, really knowing the market. Not that I don't, not that we both don't know these things, but on the back end, like contracts and things like that, I feel like she knows
good
it
at
too.
Detailed. But
that's where my comfort is.
That's awesome to be able to complement each other so well.
Anyways, just I put a really short objection period one time on, never done that again. I mean, so there's been little mistakes, but nothing's been horrible. Nothing I couldn't fix.
Just a little wind, not a big storm.
Just small baby cries.
Yeah.
That's
awesome. There's always drama though. There's always things that pop up. I think in real estate you have to which is maybe why I take things on myself a little too much more. Some realtors don't, because it's really half of the time not really your job to fix that. Sometimes the mistakes aren't even yours, and I put a lot of them on myself, but there's always something that pops up.
Do you find like people, does it frustrate you that people are like the survey, like it's not earth-shattering money typically, and it's like people get like zeroed in on it and they just like want to do you find that very frustrating? Like we were just like
100,
like we're just like we're like you're gonna blow, like do you find people blowing deals up over like the most smallest things?
I have one right now where we couldn't get past this $500 situation.
And
And
you're just
honestly,
like,
they
$2
cut my
million
commission so
contract,
much
yeah.
that I told them, I was like, this is the stuff I take care of, but I'm not taking care of it because
Yeah,
y'all
yeah,
cut my
yes,
commission.
yes.
Um,
And you're like, you just would, and you're, but
we
how
got it
people can
fixed,
get
but
zeroed
yes,
in on it.
They're
And-
just, I'm like, we're really going to blow up this cash deal over $500. You're paying cash. So yeah, but there's always things that pop up. Every transaction, you're going to learn something new, probably forever. There's
Always.
always something that comes up. So I think a big part of this job is just whether you want to take upon yourself to fix it or you have the right team of people behind you to help fix it. It's fixing problems the whole time through a transaction is trying to figure out a new way. So you're never going to say, I have perfect transactions all the time and nothing ever goes wrong, because that's not real. It's just making sure that you have confidence in handling it, or you have the right lawyers or the right title company, or whoever on your team to help you fix it.
Yeah.
Can you all talk to us about what are challenges that you face as a buying agent versus challenges you face as a selling agent? 'Cause I would think as a buying agent, like taking people to properties over and over, and they might not like it, and they might not like it. Just
There's
We
two
go back and forth on
yeah,
this a lot.
we do. Like
On what we
sellers,
like more.
like obviously the goal in real estate, right? You want to be a listing agent. You want to be the listing agent. You don't ever really want to have buyers. Like if you ever look at any high-end agents, most of them, that's their goal, to be a listing agent and never really have to have buyers, and they've got a buyer agent. However, we go back and forth on this because a listing is never guaranteed a sale, right? But as a buyer, no matter what, you're not always guaranteed that sale. You're going to work your butt off driving around and doing all the things. But generally, those people are moving for a reason and they have to move, right? So you're going to make a sale. It's just a matter of when. So that's kind of the difference in that perspective. Like you can have a listing for 6 months and work really hard and it never even sells and you make nothing off it. You can have a buyer for 6 months, and this can happen too. They may not buy, but 90% of the time, there's a time frame. They've got a job, school starting. You're going to have that sale. So, like, I go back and forth between those.
yeah, I mean, Kevin, I think about you looked for 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years for your land.
Yeah.
Like that is, what kind of just suck is that for the agent?
You're like,
or is
come on,
is that
man.
typical? Like,
Yeah, that sucks. I'm happy I wasn't your agent, Kim.
yes.
I'm joking.
No,
not
but you
really.
are. It's like which nowadays it is set up. I mean, we were set up on like when it hit it would email us.
Sure. Right.
Our parameters. So we would kind of filter that. I don't know, like, okay, hey, I want to go look. Okay,
Yes.
so then you call, hey, let's go look. But still, we probably looked at 6 different properties.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And you're
that's not even much.
So
of
you
it.
do feel bad
That's
because
okay.
it's like,
Yeah, no,
it's
don't
like
feel bad. That's not bad at all.
And
what number is bad? If you're looking at properties,
I've shown someone 30 houses before, and I'm like,
Oh my
we need to
God.
buy a house today.
Yeah.
That's what we
you
need
need
to
to
do. Come
buy.
on.
And you know-
here's another agent.
And they say, oh my gosh, I just found this for sale by owner. Or they're like, I'm going to lease. I can't find what I want. But I mean, that, like, we're not going to pretend that like that sucks big time. But we're in this industry for that hand holding. Like, honestly, we don't want anyone to feel like that's going to bother us, because in the end, whoever your agent was, you're likely, after building this amazing home, you're likely to call her when you're ready to sell it, right? So like there is going to be that
the long
circle of
term.
life. It's a long-term relationship, so we never ever want anyone to think, and even those lease people, they end up leasing, guess
Then
who
they'll
they're
buy
calling?
later.
They're calling us and when they're ready to buy. So is it frustrating?
You have to think long.
But yeah, you think
It's like frustrating because especially if they're buyers, you've kind of, hey, their price range. So to some extent, you've already kind of in your mind, I don't know, you've already in your mind, hey,
You're like, I
we
can
made
make
the
this
money.
much off of
I don't know, that's how I am. You're
Yeah.
like, we just got to get this deal done.
Yeah.
And so, and then when that's where it's a gut punch. You're like, man,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
But like you said, when you think long term, it's going to turn into a lot more.
It does. You have to have that. And that's what a lot of agents struggle with. And that's why a lot of them don't last, I believe, is because those can be some gut punches. And it can be really hard to get through all of that. And I feel like those happen, they see bad things happen in 3s. In real estate, I swear it's bad things happen in 10s. Like if you have one buy go down, you're going to have the next 10 go down.
Yeah,
Like,
this industry,
Yeah.
even in in good and bad markets, you're going to have this with
Oh,
your
yeah.
income. It's
Yeah.
just, it is what it is.
And sometimes it's in tens for goods too. You got
Yeah.
one good one go and then 10 income. Like but you got to be in it for the long haul.
So, okay, this is more entrepreneurship. Like, you started this business knowing this. How do you plan? Like, how do you, like, okay, we're heading into a bear market or interest rates are rising. Like,
Yeah.
how does a successful real estate agency, swim through these currents?
We DoorDash as well.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
No, we've just been lucky to make it through. I mean,
We have.
we have good clients, and it does slow down some, and it's not always, the high of the highs, but
Yeah.
we just,
I don't know. Somehow we're still eating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, fortunately,
there's really no way to plan
Yeah,
in this,
yeah.
and to just know that
Right.
money's
Yes.
coming in. There's just no way. You cannot just.
Just have to have a war chest and hope,
You have to
hope
have
it
a-
lasts.
Hope
Yeah,
you can
and I
work
feel like that's
hard.
why we both did the whole part-time, you get to a place where you work enough where when you take that step into full-time, you've got, you got some
Little
rain
bit
check,
of relationship
yeah,
equity.
and then you start your pipeline and you really, I really do feel like you've just got to feel confident enough that you've got a pipeline going, and it's not like an inner confidence. It actually shows because you do end up having deals just keep going, right? Like, because they're coming in and you're working something. So what we did 10 years ago is like catching up. So
And you just have to change with the market. I mean, it'll be completely different as it slows down. It's harder to sell things, but now you have those buyers that want to come invest and get the good deals again. I mean, there's always something happening.
Yeah, the
Yes.
counter trade.
Yeah, it's just a
with every
different-
market,
that's
there's
right.
there's a counter players for sure.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's cool.
For sure.
Man, I had a question, and it was a great question.
Oh, darn.
Yeah, and it is. I was gonna
ready
single
for it.
you
We're
out and ask you
flowing.
to sing. I don't know.
Not, it's kind of a cliche answer, but it is true. I want to know, as a realtor, what separates a good one versus a bad one? Like, what's that separation?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I would say like no brainer is the full-time agent, right? There's a lot of
No brand?
full-time.
Oh, full-time.
agent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
a lot of moms.
There's a lot of moms, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like, we were that once upon a time. Like, however, if we're really going to be honest, you want to hire someone that is full-time in it, and so that would be one of the first things. The second thing would be
Drive, internal ambition.
Hustlers.
and like honestly a passion for it. Like, I know that sounds so cliche, but like there is a satisfaction, I'm sure, just like when you guys complete a build for someone, like that satisfaction of like handing it over and seeing them do that final walkthrough and the like the happiness that they've got, like you're just like he's laughing, so I feel like there's a story here. There's double-edged sword there. But like, I know it sounds cliche, but like you've got to enjoy that, because like I said, you can be in it for 6 months and not sell something and not close on those people. And unless you remember that feeling of what it's like when you finally do, you've got to have that drive that keeps you going for what makes you want to keep doing it. Otherwise, that's why a lot of the agents, I feel like, fall off. They're like, screw this. It's not all about money. It really can't be all about money.
No.
And they're like, not making it. I got to go.
Well, like you said, this fit your personality traits.
Yeah.
Like, I like talking with people.
Yeah.
I like moving. Like, this suits.
Yeah.
All your trades to professions suit
Yeah.
specific people, like naturally.
Yes. And not being, I think that what isn't like, not being like just putting them on a listing. Like one of the things that we love doing is like, it's almost like a puzzle piece. Like, let's match people to this property or this property. And you've got this client that's 2 years ago and you're like, see this property and they are in your mind. And like, we sit down and you want to call on something. Is that going to be sold? Like, this would be great for, it's like, it's marrying people in real estate together too, instead of just being like, oh, you want to buy a $800,000 property, let's put you on an MLS listing alert and away you go. That's what an average agent will do.
Yes.
But I feel like we are going to be like, okay, you want 800,000? I sold this place to these people a few years ago. Like, they don't really probably want to be there anymore. Let me call them. Hey guys, y'all want to sell? Like little things like that give us some edge.
No, because it gives it to, because it's like, people feel when you're given that, where you're like, hey, because you're sitting there going like, hey, your personality, this is your property, and you try. Obviously, you can't always make it happen, but like that type of way of doing it.
And all of that comes with, and we didn't want to hear this when we first started either, but with just being in the industry for a long time, and then you know the properties because you sold that property 5 years ago and 8 years ago, and just knowing the area and knowing other agents that you know that they've been working on this place that's not up yet, but it's about to be, and it just comes with doing it every day. And that really sucks when you're first starting because someone giving you that advice isn't very helpful. But you just got to stay in it.
Earn your stripes.
Earn your stripes.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
And it really is like there's so many exits when you're starting out that you could just exit it, and you could have justified it in your head, and everybody just said the same thing. Oh, it wasn't for you. But there's so many times you could just exit it, and just went on with your life. Yeah. But it's the people that I think that stay in it because you love it. I mean, it's like, but because it's so easy to quit. It's like, there's so many times, and there's legitimate, real reasons to quit.
Absolutely.
There really is.
And like maybe not worse than quitting, but to settle for mediocrity. Like, hey, I can justify not being excellent. This is good.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and it's so much easier to have not easier. I don't know if it's easier or not, but sometimes in this industry, it feels better to just be like, you know what? I'm just going to have a normal job and a normal paycheck. And I know that comes every month and I don't have to worry about it.
I have fantasized.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
But it's just not for me. I've never been able to work under people, and I'll take the highs and lows.
I will too. And the victory
is yours.
No, it's
It's
like
yours.
when you hit like either you score good on a job or like you said, you had a customer that's super excited, that's happy when your job, and then sometimes just the pure satisfaction of the work when you're done and you're walking away and you're like, man, this is like such a satisfying thing.
Yeah.
That's where but there is times that I have been fantasizing like, hey, why are we doing why don't I go
why do we put this pressure on ourselves?
Well, I should have chose a different profession.
It's a stressful way to
but
live.
it's fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what else,
you would do. Yeah.
I have no idea.